Hi, everybody. So, last, I guess it's been about 2 weeks now. We've been working through the 8 limbs of yoga, and the last 2 weeks, or the last 5 classes, really, we've talked about the yamas, and the yamas are the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, and there was 5 yamas. And today, now we're talking about the second limb, the niyamas. And the Niyamas also have 5 branches, I guess you could call them. And the yamas and the niyamas are, they're just these guidelines of how we should act to ourselves and like outwardly into the world. So we talked about, like ahisma and like nonviolence and how you can bring that not only into your everyday life, but onto your yoga mat. We talked about truthfulness and being honest with yourself and not moving too deep in a pose. We talked about restraint. I'm drawing a blank on the other 2 off the top of my head. That's kind of embarrassing, but we've talked about all of those things. And today I want to talk about Soucha. And Soucha is the first niyama, and the niyamas are the second limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. And Soucha translates to cleanliness. And there's so many ways that we can talk about Soucha, whether that's cleanliness of our physical bodies, cleanliness of our home, cleanliness of our minds. And I want to tap on a little bit of all of those things. So they say that your environment or your home is generally a reflection of your internal environment. So if you're living or in a state of just kind of like clutter and disarray in your home, then you're probably feeling that way, like mentally. I know that they go hand in hand for me. If I, don't pick up after a few days and things are a little kind of askew in the house, I start to feel really frazzled and like I don't know my ups from downs. So it's important that we practice Soucha, cleanliness, in our environment. And it doesn't have to be wiping everything down with sanitizer and having this type A home, but just keeping it tidy, keeping it clear of clutter, keeping it clean. And then we can talk about Soucha for our bodies. And yes, we know the importance of good hygiene, of bathing, of dental hygiene. And you know how important it is to eat a healthy diet. We don't always follow that, but we all know better. It's 2020. So when it comes to Soucha of the body, try eating clean, like whole foods, and steer away from those like processed, packaged GMO foods. And I'm not here to tell anybody what to do or not to do, or what to eat and not to eat. But just think about if you have a whole, organic, natural apple and you eat that apple, your body can immediately process all of the nutrients from the apple. But if you have an apple that has been GMO'd and sprayed in fertilizer, your body has to process the fertilizer, has to process the pesticides, and then get to the nutrients. So that's why we talk about Soucha for the body, is you really want to put things in your body that are going to be beneficial. And then let's talk about cleanliness of our practice, of our yoga practice. We want to keep our mat clean, like physically clean. You can wipe it down with just water and vinegar, a little lemon water, essential oil. But while you're on the mats, trying to figure out the best way to say this, being clean in the mind is more of saying, be mindful of where your thoughts go. So if you're in a challenging pose, are you going to start being frustrated, or are you going to just meet the pose and accept that it's challenging and keep those thoughts clean and not go to that state of aggression, which is practicing ahisma. So as you move through your practice today, just be mindful about the thoughts that are coming in and the sensations that you're having, and sensations not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, and just see if you can clean it up a little bit. See if you can just be a little bit more mindful about or conscious about the thoughts that you're having when you're faced with challenge, when you're in a resting pose, when you're lying in Shavasana. Just see if you can keep them clean. Practice Soucha.